You found me. It's Jimmy here, working on the old Punisher theme mini swamp buggy. Today's going to be video number 5, doing the rear cross member finally. And also flatbed. We're going to work on part of the flatbed because it's all tied in together, the framework that the flatbed's going to sit on. So we're going to get that done today, and then that should be it for this video. I'm going to show you, I finally made a decision because I had like 3 different ideas that I was going to do in the rear end. One was going to be like a bed, the other was going to be just some fenders, and I finally made a decision to go with the flatbed, which was my original idea like 15 years ago, and I'm finally going back to that, so that's fun. And also, just so you know, I gave my channel an official name here, the old Scrapyard Builder channel, so you can go on there and check out a couple other videos I got on there and subscribe if you're into that sort of stuff or whatever. But for now, let's get started. This right here is like half of a yard trailer that I got out of the scrap, and I was going to use it as a bed, sort of big enough to put the cooler in. But it's kind of heavy, and to get another one of these that's not completely rusted is too expensive. So I scrapped that idea, no pun intended. And then another idea I had, I was going to do these fenders about like that. And I thought it was kind of cool. I was even going to put a little fender flare there on the bottom, like a mud guard type of thing. But it's going to be like extra work, and I think it's going to be more weight. And I finally decided to go with the flatbed here. It's going to be, you can see the line on there, that's how the length is going to be, maybe like a little shorter. It leaves me all this open space. I can get to the battery, I can get to the air box, I can do whatever I want in there, and I wouldn't have to, like, you know, move this big fender out of my way or whatever. Now the reason I did want to not do a flatbed originally was because I'm trying to keep a lower center of gravity. I wanted the cooler to be sitting, you know, right there, so all the heavy weight is on top of the rear wheels and it's really low. But since I've lowered the buggy 2 inches already, and then I figured out I can do this here, and I'm gonna lower another 2 inches where the flatbed's actually gonna sit. And I'm just gonna get a smaller cooler. I don't need a gigantic, you know, 48 quart cooler. It's gonna be like a little 20 quart cooler, so I think it's gonna do okay. I don't think it's gonna give me trouble with being top heavy. So that's where we're at. Let's get started. See this frame rail right here? That's your before. And here's your after. I cut it all out so we can put this frame in here. Well, I'm notching this into the frame that it's getting welded into, so I can get an extra ½ inch of clearance that I need for the rear cross member. So I went ahead and marked the black Sharpie, and then I cut some relief cuts in it to make it easier when I got the cutoff wheel on there so it doesn't bind it up. And I already cut a 45 off just to make life easier. All right, let's go. Just spent about 30-35 minutes grinding this all down to fit properly. Not too bad. I did a little 1/2 inch notch there because I'm going to need 1/2 inch somewhere else for the rear cross member. I'll show you that later. But the rear cross member is going to weld on to here. And I think this will be plenty strong. I'm going to have all that to weld. And then I'm probably going to put a fish plate over it too. Probably like some diamond tread. And then of course it'll connect in to the other one on the other side, and I'll probably have one going in the middle too, just to make sure everything's really strong since the cross member is going to be welded onto it. Alright, how you like them apples? Bed frame. Bed frame nibble. Let's get started cutting the rear cross member shackles out of the framework that they're stuck in right now. Sounds like fun. Alright, if you see the groove that I'm cutting there, all the way around it, and hopefully I'll just cut through all the weld, and then that old framework will just fall out of there. Hopefully. Wish me luck. See that now? I'm just cutting out big chunks of it, and I've probably gotten past the weld on those sections. I just have to keep doing that all around it, and then I'll be able to pop her on out. Woohoo! Alright, sorry for the shaky camera while I was beating on her, but look, that buster popped it right out of there, no problem. I didn't beat anything up too bad. Look at that. That's amazing. Hell yeah, this is your before. Cut all around it and just popped her right on out. Alright, now I gotta make this one look like that one. Yeehaw! There we go, we got them both done. It's sitting on top of the old infamous rear cross member. Let's talk about this bad boy for a second. I don't know if I told you this story or not, but I was driving through the woods one day, killing time, and I seen a weight bench out there somebody throwing away. So I got out to look at it and instantly knew what I was going to do with it. So I brought it to my little garage there that I was renting in Fort Lauderdale, and I chopped it to size and I butt welded it together. We're gonna have a little work to do on this thing. You know, butt welding isn't the strongest weld you can do, so I want to give it a little extra strength. So here's some more of that weight bench, and we're going to cut it into a piece of angle iron, and then we're going to weld it onto here to give it a little extra strength. And then it all bolts onto this piece of actual angle iron, 1/8 angle iron right here. And this angle iron is welded to the ATC frame, or will be. Dropped it. And the only other thing is, I don't know what I did, but these holes are not centered. So one of them is going to probably this one's going to be plugged up. And then won't be a problem because I'll just drill a new hole through here and it won't be that big of a deal. So that's what I got to do next. I reckon I'll go do it. Go. Got the rear cross member tacked in. Yeah! As I told you, I got the rear cross member welded in there. Well, actually, the mounts are welded in there, and then it bolts to the mounts. Now I'm working on where the cross member bolts to this piece of angle iron. You have to weld the piece of angle iron onto the ATC frame there. So I made my little cardboard mock-ups here. What do you think about that? So that's gonna go right in the center, probably like a 3/16 inch one right there. And then these ones on the outside, they're a little smaller, and I'm gonna make them out of probably 1/8 thick, and they'll go somewhere about like that. So I like them. I think they're pretty cool. I'm gonna have to cut them out of the metal and then weld them in there, and then we'll be pretty much done with this area and we can move on with life. All right. Ready to cut out. work of art. Gotta get the grinder and clean that up. Look at that. I got the middle brace or gusset, I don't know exactly what you'd call it, but the middle one's cut out, sitting in there pretty dang good, I gotta be honest with you. And then the two that go on either end, I've got them right here. I don't know if you can see it, but I've got them marked out on there, and I'm gonna go cut them and grind them, and then we'll be back here fitting them in. Whatever. Woohoo! The support gusset, whatever the hell you want to call it, thingamajigger, it's officially tacked in there. That's what I'm talking about. Now I just gotta do the left and right side and weld her all on up. Hell yeah! Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's officially official. We got all three of them tacked in there. So now we've got the rear of the golf cart attached to the rear of the three-wheeler. What do you think about that? And as you already know, we've got the front of the golf cart attached to the front of the three-wheeler. So that means something very important. We can move on to putting an axle underneath this thing, and then a front end, and then we're almost done, practically, in my head at least. Alright, so the next video is going to be doing the drop axle. Alright, thanks for watching. Stay tuned.